Howdy folks, welcome to the Scannell Agenda. This is show number 43. Today's date is Friday, December 18th, 2015. This is part 3 of the Market Quota System VP, Fishery Manager, SJFS, or some nonsense. Okay. I'm the best you've got, so it's not nonsense. As far as fishery management goes, I'm the best in the world. Nobody is better than me. Because number one, I know enough to put the right people in charge of the right task. And when I say we need a Congress of marine scientists and technicians, that should perk you up. Because you should be saying, well, who's running the show now? Don't we have scientists doing this work? No, we don't. We actually don't. Oh, they're there. They're on the job. Okay? On the job doesn't mean they have any control whatsoever. They are told to shut up. You shut your mouth. If you're a scientist in the world of fishery management, you shut up or you don't have a job. Who runs the show? The fishermen and the politicians go into a room. What do they do when they're in the room? It's not good. You know, I don't know. It's not good. It's ridiculous. It's this business of the council management. It's really a facade for a lot of idiocy, really. And that system should be phased into and overlapped into this Congress of Marine Scientists and technicians, and you could use the same basic structure and rearrange the chairs at the table so that you really weighted with these people that, number one, they do not have so much of a short-term special interest in catching the fish. You know, that's why we don't have codfish. Now, it would be the smart fishery manager with this Congress of Marine Scientists and Technicians, and you can use the structure of the council system to get it going and change slowly. So I'm not producing any radical changes in the council system other than just to stack the deck in favor of people that actually know what they're doing. Like we had people at the Marine Lab on Nantucket. Now it was their job to produce these scallops at the hatchery. Aren't they beautiful? But now when it came to the management of the fisheries on Nantucket, we had the selectmen were number one, town meeting is number one, selectmen number two, number three would be your Shellfish and Harbor Advisory Board, SHAB. Now, that was a 7-man board, and I was on that board for a few years. And the fishermen resented a lot of things. Resentment was really the main deal. Of course, we had good people, you know, that were trying to get a start with the Marine Laboratory. But, oh no, that would displace the great wisdom of the fishermen. And so that got the kibosh put on it by some of the selectmen who were pro-fishermen and anti-science. I'm not making this up. This is nutty stuff when you've got good people sitting around on the sidelines. Now, I wouldn't say fishermen are a bunch of idiots, but fishermen know what fishermen know, okay? And scientists know what they know. If you can combine both of them together, that's the ideal. So there's a lot of fishermen's wisdom that I think it even surpasses the wisdom of some of these scientists that come out of the school. I mean, some of them didn't know the difference between a jingle shell and an oyster that we had hired and paid good money for. True. America should change its philosophy on resource management. We do have a bad philosophy on resource management. Never mind fisheries, but public resource management It's not good. This publication may start the ball rolling. See how optimistic I was. We need a grassroots effort to discard the old, obsolete ways of resource management, and we need a grassroots effort to implement the market quota system. So first of all, I have to teach you what this system's all about, and I'm making an effort to do that. So, we need a grassroots effort. Now, I worked with Greenpeace a little bit, with Fred Jennings. Professor Fred Jennings was actually contracted to from Greenpeace contracted him, and then Fred and I were working together, and then Greenpeace totally dropped the ball. Greenpeace dropped the ball, 100%. Now, I got to explain something to you about Greenpeace and such environmental organizations. These are usually liberal type people, not always. And what happens is the liberals get married to a program for people, that is a fishery management program for the people, for the fishermen. And they get married to that in their hearts. And they just can't see disappointment to fishermen beyond their vision of making fishermen happy. They're useless, because if they can't get past that, and these green organizations have never been able to get past their cute little vision of themselves being the benefactors to the fishermen. Actually, you know, the opposite is true. The opposite is very much true, because over the years, since we have adopted a philosophy of it's okay to wreck the bottom because we love the fishermen. Well, that's been a concrete cornerstone of our fishery management systems, and it is bizarre. I was never with it, thankfully. I was always with the green fishing since before I was a teenager. I think I was 11 or 12 when I knew that my job in life would be to rejuvenate the ocean, like Jacques Cousteau. So that was pretty much my mission when I was 12, I think. And then I started getting into it. But the green organizations, so-called, they're just proven to be no damn good when it comes to salt water. Maybe in fresh water they're a little better, okay? But Greenpeace dropped the ball. Now, Fred Jennings pretty much critiqued a book called Sharing the Fish. It was all about the limited entry, which was a misnomer, sharing the fish. Actually, it was all about hoarding the fish for a certain few people. That's limited entry. Now, he was in the economics world pretty high up there, probably, and me, just a fisherman. But we worked together quite a bit on fish folk, and it's all a matter of record. But his deal was to just explain to people that the fact that we weren't putting a price on the destruction of the ocean was a major problem. And he said there was a missing price. Okay, that's all about allowing the bottom to be wrecked free of charge. And that was something we did as the public many years ago, probably in the 70s. These controversies were raging in the 70s about, you know, the habitat destruction. But the green people, so-called the green organizations, were always too much in love with the fishermen to be protective of the environment for the fishermen. I know it sounds like, oh, that couldn't be true, but actually that is the truth of it. So that's very discouraging that Greenpeace Now, they could have and should have picked up on this market quota system, and it could have gone worldwide in a very short period of time, but they didn't pick up on it. Wouldn't work. You know, if you have an environmental system that you've designed, and people are looking at you like, oh, you want to hurt the fishermen. You know, how stupid are you? And I'm talking about educated people like in Greenpeace and in all these other green organizations. How stupid are you if you think environmental protection is hurting the fishermen? As they say, truth is stranger than fiction. I'm not making this up. This is what happened in the 70s and 80s. We were very much entrenched with all these attitudes about helping the fishermen. What do the fishermen want to do? And everyone was grumbling and crying about what do the fishermen need, what do they want to do. Well, that was always the fishermen that were the permit owners. They weren't talking about the guy on the back deck, because they were ignorant about that poor guy, or the kid coming up in high school or getting out of college that wanted to be a fisherman. It was always blatant ignorance about that. Oh, you know, after people leave the room with a bunch of fishermen screaming at them, well, that's just it. They just have to be there for the fishermen, you know. So the public has been hoodwinked by ourselves. The green organizations did the most ignorant thing you could do, which is to side against the environment and for the fishermen. Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened. So we need to change the philosophy on resource management. And this publication may start the ball rolling. This is 1995, folks. So we need a grassroots effort to discard the old obsolete ways of resource management. That's truer now. Don't you see it? With the increase in codfish quotas given over to fishermen to fish out the last few codfish that we've got swimming around out there. Don't you see it? Don't you see how stupid that is? To be nice to fishermen, I mean, you know? You think you're being nice to fishermen? When you're giving fishermen fish that are worth between $100 and $2 a pound as your brood stock. These fish have a tremendous value as the breeders. Leave them alone. I mean, 80% we should shut down, 80% of fishing over the next 7 years. I brought this up before. We should have a period of fallow ground, or a shutdown period, where we allow only 20% of the fish to come in that we have allowed over the years, let's say. And just build the habitat, build the aquaculture systems, build the infrastructure systems that we as human beings need if we want to eat the codfish. We have to have these infrastructure systems, and it can't be all about, oh, what do the fishermen want to do? Oh, that's so pathetic, so pathetic. America needs to take ownership and control of its resources instead of squandering those resources on special interest groups. You have to see for what it is. The fishing interest groups, they want to protect the permit value, and so therefore the stocks have to be kept down. That's a fact. It's a subconscious fact that fishermen don't want conservation right now in the year 2015. That would interrupt their very valuable fishing rights holdings. That might get watered down. Your fishing rights value is huge if you're a permit holder with, let's say, an offshore scallop license. I've been told that they went for about $2 or $3 million bucks. I don't know. And the boat may be worth $1 million. But your permit is worth $2 million. It's a privately held deed to fish. It's a real estate deed, basically. And at a time when we should be using robots to pick sea scallops up off the bottom and cultivating the habitat, we're just granting these rights to destroy the bottom year after year, after decade. It's It's a stupid, stupid approach to fishery management. So we need the people to run the show. Congress of Marine Scientists and Technicians. I would be in there with the economists, let's say. I consider myself to be a public resource economist of an amateur variety, and I think my work is better than the professionals' work, even though I don't have that sheepskin. I don't really want the sheepskin. I just want to see this thing done. You could give it to me, I'd take it, but as far as sitting around in a classroom where they teach the wrong way to go, I don't think I'd be too interested in doing that. Although my one school that I really wanted to go to was University of Rhode Island. When they had the fisheries program, I did apply and I got turned down. There was only 30 people in it at the time, and a third of them were foreigners. And I got turned down. I was smoking too much grass. I didn't have a good math background. America should change its philosophy on resource management. That's the third time I'm going to repeat that. I'm shitting on you. Do you like it? No, you don't like it. You resent it, don't you? Well, we don't have codfish. But you're still going to be resentful. The public will be resentful. There's no straightening out the public on fishery management because the public wants to be nice to fishermen. And I think that's probably quintessentially, I would say, Governor Baker here in Massachusetts would probably be one of the main culprits on something like that. You know, if you love the fishermen, you're not a friend of the fishermen, Governor Baker, just so you know that. You have to love the balance sheet. The public balance sheet, number one. You have to love the kelp. You have to love the eelgrass. If you want to be the friend of the fishermen, you want to help the fishermen, help the kelp, help the eelgrass. That's the only way to be the friend of the fishermen. Don't start crying and doing what the fishermen want to do, please. That's utter nonsense. You just need an education on fisheries economics. The purpose of the following writing is to start a serious debate on managing the ocean for productivity. Currently, the debate on managing the ocean is centered on adjusting traditional commercial fishing rights and privileges. The debate should focus instead on finance, ecology, and the traditional ideal of equal opportunity. Let's make the ocean thrive. Let's use the best fishery management system currently on the table, the market quota system. The market quota system, MQS, is a public resource management system designed for government use, but modeled after business and the free market. Our current fishery management system is hardly worth being called a system. It is a dinosaur with band-aids. Our current system is basically designed for the bountiful ocean of yesteryear. Our current system is broken. It does not work. More band-aids on the current system will not help. Our current system is outdated. It must be pulled out by its roots and discarded. This is 1995 stuff. No one wants to listen. The sooner the market quota system is implemented, the better. It is a complex system and a real system. It is current, workable, simple, and fair. If the American people have vision, and apparently with fisheries we don't, right? We have to change that. And if the American people have courage and an adventurous spirit, then the market quota system will work. It will work for the common good of town communities, our national community, and the world community of nations and people. Better days are coming with the market quota system. The Habitat Seafood Factory. That's the next chapter. The one major fault with our current system of fisheries management is this. There are various methods of harvesting seafood from the sea farm. The whole entire ocean, that's the sea farm. That And these methods are destroying the habitat or bottom of the sea farm. And then also there are the various methods of harvesting seafood from the sea farm that do little or no damage to the habitat or bottom of the sea farm. Our current dinosaur-style fisheries managers blind to the difference. So we have a fishery management. Fishery management? You're not a fishery manager. What are you? You're a dope. All these people on the New England Fishery Management Councils are just a bunch of dopes because they're blind to habitat destruction. Nowhere in their system is a favoritism toward the green fishing. That's why you're a bunch of dopes. New England Fishery Management and all these other councils, every other council is probably better than the New England Council. I think we've got the worst record. So, as an example of our dinosaur management style, we do not reward the fishing method of cod fish jigging and tub trawling. We should, because we are not eroding our capital base or our habitat when we jig. You see our capital base of the habitat? Do you see that or you don't see that, folks? You don't see it. All you see is what do the fishermen want to do. Well, that's why I say I want to be a leader for fishery management worldwide. And we're going to have to use this system if I'm going to lead the show here. And it's going to be a great performance going forward. A lot of sacrifice and a lot of investment. And then, believe me, if the ocean's anything like she used to be, then we'll have a lot of production. So jigging is a good method. A hard bottom dragger under the current dinosaur management system is not treated any differently than the jigger. So this hard bottom stuff came up with over there at University of Rhode Island. They were pushing this at URI. This was a great invention. Well, I've told you the story about fisherman Harry Hunt, and he was beside himself about this business of getting into the areas that had previously been not touched. So the thing is, it was a big mistake because the habitat is the capital base, and you're devaluing that by virtue of the obvious fact that this is, you're scraping the bottom, ruining the habitat, it's destructive to the habitat. Hard bottom dragging is a bad fishing method that should be banned outright. And that's the way I felt in 1995, and I still feel that way. It was a stupid thing to allow, according to some of us who were not heard. No. Don't listen to those people that want to talk about the habitat. Oh, no. It's all about the fishermen. And a certain few fishermen and what they want to do. That's what it's all about. That's all. That's it. It's all about a few fishermen and what they want to do. And the public and the Cape Codders should really apologize. I'm asking Cape Cod to send me to Nebraska for this codfish apology. Humble yourself, please, so we can have some codfish to eat. Humble yourself, Cape Codders. Apologize for no codfish. Send me to Nebraska, and I will teach the Nebraskans how to do fishery management. It's not that complex. So when fishermen destroy habitat in search of profits, their own capital base is not sacrificed. Their banker does not object to the fishermen's ruining of the public fishing grounds. The public asset does suffer a tremendous loss, though. The bottom ground, scraped clean by fishermen, will produce seafood, but it will produce seafood much quantitatively less than normal. So there are balance sheets for fishermen, and there are balance sheets for the public. And they're two different balance sheets. you don't get it. Cape Codders do get it much more than, let's say, the Gloucester fleet community or the New Bedford fleet economy, because these are the industrial fishing communities with the big boats. And they've done very well with the big boats. And here on the Cape, we've done very well for hundreds of years with the little boats and the passive fishing gear, which, by the way, have nothing in common with the Hook Fishermen's Association, because they believe in this business of the permits. I believe in equal opportunity. They believe in the permits for these limited entry permits. And unless you reject that, then you can't move forward with the market quota system, the ultimate in public resource management. You can't do both. You can't have it both ways. You've got to do conservation or keep squandering the resources. So the habitat or bottom is healthy when the biomass tonnage is high. Kelp, eelgrass, tiny worms and shrimp, barnacles, shellfish, fish, crabs, etc. These are bottom dependent and make up the habitat biomass. The habitat is unhealthy or sick when the biomass is unnaturally low. Under our current system of fisheries management, the marine ecosystem is somehow expected to produce seafood despite obvious and constant and overwhelming habitat destruction. We still, these idiots at the National Marine Fisheries Service, NOAA, they still somehow expect that these boats are going to come in loaded with codfish in a few years. They really do. They're told to expect that. They're told to be unrealistically optimistic by the fishermen who want to catch the fish now. That's who's running the show. The permit holders who have great wealth tied up in public resource values. Great private wealth is tied up, has the public treasury all tied up in a knot, and it's absurd. These deeds to catch the fish never should have been written out and handed out. Here you go, here you go. Here's a deed to catch the fish in perpetuity. Please sell it to a banker or the mafia, or get rid of it somehow. Sell it to foreign interest. You think I'm kidding, don't you? No, you can't make this stuff up. This is one of the most horrendous failures of public policy that this country has ever seen. We have a golden codfish hanging in the state capitol in Massachusetts. It's revered. We're worshiping the golden calf, so to speak. Well, these codfish used to be the backbone of this economy. This is what built New England. This is what built America, these codfish.